I was someone that did really well at everything that I did until I fell pregnant, and then I was horrific at that.
All of my self-worth tied into an identity that, post-motherhood would completely collapse around me and would have to be rebuilt from scratch.
Driving along the highway, had F4 sleep over the last week and fell asleep at the wheel, and literally was a bee's dick away on the other side of the highway with a Mack truck.
But what I also want people to know is, like, sitting here right now with you in the room is the first time we've met in person as well. And this is our first actual in real life conversation also. So for people who don't know you, and I'm obviously still getting to know you as well, I want to hear a bit about your story.
Yeah. Look, much like many women and yourself who we've experienced, and as a woman in this modern day and age, we get to experience many seasons of our life, hence your podcast being called The Next Season. And a past version of me has lived many different careers, many different professions, many different identities, which I feel is going to come through this a lot. I wrote a book that got published this year called A Reason to Rise. And I realized, and I hope that many people can identify with this too, that as women and as young girls, we live a life of shooting ourselves to death, doing what we think we should do because that's how we're taught, or that the good girl has to prevail. And when you're a good girl, it means you'll do well and you'll achieve and you'll be and do and pour ultimately from an empty cup and shoot yourself to death. So the reason why I say that right at the start is because I want those listening here to perhaps, as we journey this podcast today, and whilst I share parts of my story, and I hope we can hear parts of yours infused through it too, that we can all see how similar we all are whilst also living really unique, different lives. So before now I'm a life and business coach and mentor, and we also beautifully support both men and women and couples through their healing journey and through their growth journey and transformational journey from so many different planes of not just this current lifetime, their previous lifetimes, and also their spiritual awakenings and their relationships with their spirit self, right through to, when I say life and business mentoring, I mean from a space of beyond this 3D world and really creating businesses that is about your true purpose and your true soul's intention of why that soul's here. So whilst business mentoring on that plane of business mentoring is what that is, it's intuitive led, intuitively guided, and building it also from structures and systems, also with the beautiful magic that the feminine can create. And that is doing things that are illogical in this world and creating leaders and purpose-led leaders that actually do something much bigger than just us as the humans. So I'll hold it there because we'll no doubt go through so many different things, though I'd love this conversation to really recenter around the illogic rather than the logic, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And so I often find that you're obviously someone who is so passionate about the work that you do.
Yeah.
I think the passion in what you do and how you want to help others is obviously because you've helped yourself. And it's going through the realization of helping yourself and realizing that other people need that kind of, compassion and help and healing, I guess. Tell me what it was that actually got you into this space in the first place.
Yeah. Like anyone that is in this space, it requires a deep unearthing of self. So when I speak about identities, a prior identity of mine was in our Australian Armed Forces for 14 years. So I served, and then back then I joined when I was 17. Back then it was such a male-oriented industry and service, right? Our armed forces. The Australian Air Force especially was, it was very, very rare to see women in that. So I did that for a long time, and I have so much reverence for that, though I also know that I got to experience and see and endure things that most people never will. And then if I fast forward and share a few other careers and identities that I chose to participate in, because all of it is a choosing, I also for 13 years was a emergency registered nurse. So from a trauma space, from seeing real life events, from seeing people at their absolute best day ever to their absolute worst, I've had the pleasure and the privilege of also seeing so much in that space. Fast forward, and I hope people can identify with this too. I've also been a personal trainer. I've also been someone that has worked in so many different industries. I've worked in the health and fitness industry. I've done so much in the bodybuilding industry. Training was my life. A professional athlete was in my tapestry of life. There have been so many incredible things that I've chosen to do in this lifetime. Of course, the identity of motherhood and discovering real love after many heartbreaks. Moving forward, I was someone that did really well at everything that I did until I fell pregnant. And then I was horrific at that. And I share that because I wasn't the woman who during my pregnancies had the flower crown and enjoyed the magic of growing a little human. Throughout my entire pregnancies, both of my entire pregnancies, I was hospitalized the whole time. I couldn't work. I could no longer train. All parts of my identities were pushed to the edge. And I asked big questions like, who am I when I'm not the nurse? Who am I when I'm not the alpha female, career officer in the Australian military? Who am I when I cannot be the person, the alpha A female that has it all together? Because when I'm pregnant, I can't even survive unless I'm literally, tapped into IV and having support in that way to just exist. So that was another experience that I think many people can identify hugely with, because it's a part of an identity or part of an experience that many women don't love pregnancy. And it's like we're allowed to say that out loud. And much like yourself and what you've shared recently, I've also experienced big loss in my life, including pregnancy loss and grief and deep unearthing of rebirths for myself as not just a woman, also a soul that has lived many lifetimes before now, who every day is a realizing of what I'm here for. So that's just hence why my book's called A Reason to Rise. There's actually so many parts of the story that I'm so grateful for looking back, though, and all shaped, how we arrived to here. Absolutely. And how we live the life that we do now, though it was through the darkness and through my own Phoenix rising moments and through my own, struggles and challenges that I was able to arrive to a space where it could be light again, for sure.
Yeah. Again, if anyone has been listening to the show for a while, they'll understand the parallels between our stories. Like so similar in terms of all of the career jumping around, like working in different industries, the identity collapse from being, yes, I also was the alpha woman, totally in control of everything. All of my self-worth tied into an identity that, post motherhood would completely collapse around me and would have to be rebuilt from scratch. And at the time, I didn't know how to do that, and I couldn't find the resources or the help, and I didn't have anyone that I could relate to going through that, which is why this whole show was born.
So good.
And to have you here, to have another example of a woman who's gone through like a parallel situation to me, just goes to show that there are more of us out there. And I'm hoping we can, reach as many of them as we can with this episode. Tell me about your rebuilding story on the other side of the pregnancies, which sounded extremely tough. I mean, I compared to you, I did actually have a very easy pregnancy, but the motherhood identity and how life therefore changed from there. And I guess like how long did it take for you to recalibrate into the version of who you are today?
Yeah, look, I have this moment that I always come back to that at the time was so ugly, though I look back and go, that was a moment. And it was a moment where I just went, you know what, who's the common denominator in all of this chaos? Because it was just all chaotic, to be honest. Chaotic in the face of like something needs to change, because I can see that it's me that's creating it. And it's me that is so like that control and that wanting to know exactly how everything was going to pan out and feeling so out of control and so untethered brought me to this moment in time. And again, I've kind of scratched the surface on it, just before. It's like where then it's like the universe just continue to put all these things in my path so that I would stop. Because I was just one of those women, much like yourself, who I will just keep on going. You give me a goal, you give me a reason, you give me a why, and I will be absolutely unfucking relentless towards it. Nothing will stop me. And whilst that is such an incredible trait to have, like anything, like water, like salt, you have too much or too little, you're dead. And so the same thing that was driving me was the very same things that were holding me back. And so the reason why I say that in this pivotal moment is I went, holy shit, it's not my pregnancies, though that was really hard. It's not all the grief that I'm experiencing, though that was really difficult. It's not my marriage that was in massive disrepute because we just couldn't see each other. I was so in my masculine that there was what space did my husband have to be in his masculine at all when I was holding that masculine frame so well? I can see you like resonating. And then, you know, it wasn't the fact that I then turned from, you know, career professional to then I was supporting and caring for my dad in the home before he passed. So I was just upholding this really unconventional and truly this standard of how I was meant to do it all in a world that tells us, hey, yeah, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And you should absolutely, until you cannot survive, until you don't know who you are, what way's up, let alone where you're freaking going. And in the face of, I thought I was taking care of myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm training, I'm eating well, I'm doing all these things. But I was being so busy in the busy that I was actually avoiding this deep work. And the universe, as I was saying, kept on just giving me, like literally when I look back at it now, I'm like, thank you, creator, but just kept on giving me, gifting me what I thought was like, you gotta be fucking kidding. Now what? Now what? Now what? Almost to the point, it was a story with my friends of like, how much more can you take? There'd just be something.
And at that point too, do you find yourself for the first time in your life being a victim when it's something that you would be like so disgusted in ever claiming as a title?
You know what I love about this is because I literally shared this recently. I was like, for the first time in my life, I went, I am having the mentality of a freaking victim. And that's what I meant when I sat in front of this mirror, and it was, you know, this moment of like, I demand more of you, though it's a different fucking version of you from this point forward. And you are it. You are creating all of this. And it was the most like, and I'm saying it pretty, it was actually ugly. It was just like, for the first time in my life, looking at myself beyond my face and seeing more than just me. It was seeing like, hang on a second, you're a mother now. We can't be not attending like things that happened in the past or continue to happen. You're a grown-ass adult and woman now. And you can either keep on blaming them, though in the past I wasn't blaming them, though deep down there was some victim to this. Oh, I've had a hard life, or this has happened, or I've had an easy life, but this is pretty good. Do you know what I mean? Like it was all of that. So that was really, I'm going to say the start. And why I know that that's really, really important is most people don't have that moment, and it can make a journey of enlightenment, if you call it, or a journey of actual radical self-accountability, responsibility.
I literally was going to use those words. You've taken them right out of my mouth. I don't not expect anything less from someone who could be my sister from another mister. It takes the courage to actually face yourself and be really honest with yourself and realize that like it's no one else's fault. It's not what happens to you. Like it's you. You have choices, and it's the whole reframe thing. But you know, I think we've got to give ourselves some grace to be, I guess, like in that victim space for a bit, because it does hurt, it does sting, it does deplete us. We aren't actually operating from the same neurological place that we did prior to going through postpartum and all this kind of thing. So we have to be, I guess, gentle on ourselves. We can lick our wounds and be a victim for a while. But I think the tipping point and the turning point for a woman who rises, using your book reference there, and a woman who never recovers from this and this becomes her life, is I think women can reach this point where it is, as you say, a blessing from the universe to rebirth yourself into the future version of who you need to be to continue with on your life path, or you stay the same, and then all of the consequences of that become, you're not the person your husband married and had children with. You become depressed. You lose interest in all of the things that used to light you up. You become slowly more capacitated over time to the point where you completely don't recognize yourself, but you're too far gone. I think it's so important for anyone listening to this, if they're in this stage, or they feel like they're in the victim stage, to recognize that they do actually need to go through this, I guess, like rite of passage to actually come out the other side.
Absolutely. And whenever someone arrives there to me, or I see them at this point, obviously I don't say it like this immediately, but I go, fuck yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because that's that moment. That's the start of her rebirth. That's the start of her liberation. That's the start of her reclamation. Like it is literally that first moment. It's kind of like anything that we do first starts with the decision. It's like that is a somatic, it happens. It's like your eyes look at yourself different. And you finally see something beyond you, and you finally go, oh my gosh, I'm taking the reins, but this time not in the control that I've done it before? Am I willing to bear it all?
And I think some people don't have enough self-awareness for that to happen for themselves, which
Yeah.
is why it's really, really important to surround yourself with the right people, or to like work with someone like you, right? Because sometimes we need someone else to hold that mirror up and help us see it. I think that's really important. I think some people just don't have anyone to like tell them like
Yeah.
where they're at
Yeah.
and what's happening to them, and see it from like a different lens, like taking a step back and be like, from the outside in, because we tell ourselves all of these stories.
Yeah.
You know, we find misery and comfort, like
Bang,
it's
sister.
yeah, it just gets to the point where we believe, you
Yeah.
know, our circumstance can't change and we're kind of stuck like it forever, I
Yeah.
guess. So for me, that person in my life has been Jack. You know, he's always been very good at holding up a mirror and being like, I know you and I know where you're at, and I don't think you're being completely honest with yourself. And like, if you look here and if you reflect on this, and like, I have like the biggest like epiphanies and aha moments with him. So I'm very, very lucky to have a partner who can do that.
Yes.
And there'll be people that will obviously have awareness like you did to be able to do it for themselves. But for, I guess, anyone listening, like, what would be the advice if they think like this kind of sounds like me? Like, what steps do I need to take from here?
Look, here's the thing. Most women, I was so busy in the busy, as I was saying, there was so many, I called it a life collision. At the time, I called it a life fuck, like, because that's what it was. There was, at the time, now I go, creme de la creme, thank you, or putting me on my path. In that moment, I actually realized how the people around me, and I love that you mentioned it before, very few, and it wasn't a conscious thing, I created an identity around being that guy or being that girl and being that woman. And for so long, I was like, oh my gosh, I used to have, you call it in the coaching space, secondary gain. So I had so much secondary gain to stay being that person, because people are like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing that you can care for your dad and you can still maintain your household, and Dane's struggling with some big mental health challenges at the moment. You can still be this and you can still be that, and you can still uphold your career and you can still run the business on the side. And I realized that whilst I didn't love that, I realized that everyone around me was also supporting the narrative that that's how women should be. And I only had a couple of people that were well outside of the space that were like, nah, like, what are you doing? And it's a really great example, first of all, I call it prune your life garden. I am one of the most ruthless, whilst people, like the people that know me fully are like, oh, you will know if you're in Nadine's life garden or not. And not because I won't, it's an energetic thing too. It's not that I'll be like, gone, you're not getting a Christmas card this year. It's nothing like that. You'll just know. I'm one of those people that I'm very intentional with who and what and when and how and for what reason. And we should, that gate between your entire life and everything around you is sacred. And so one of the first things I say here when people ask me, because I get this question all the time, like, where does someone start, is actually starting to look not just at the woman in the mirror, also all of the mirrors that are reflecting to you every day and say that this is okay. And exactly what you said, whilst at the time my husband was not in a position mentally to even support me in that. And I can see how the masculine part of me was driven even more masculine because I didn't have someone to hold me. And I was and continue to be the one in my family that is very, very different. You know, people called me, well, they didn't call me that, though, you know, I am and was the black sheep of my family. Though I was the wild fucking Brumby. Do you know what I mean? I was here to make a difference. I was here to make a change. It wasn't that I was shunned or black sheeped. It was more just I was the one that just thought different and went, no, this doesn't need to be like this. And so to answer your question, like, apart from having that moment of just, hey, can I see if I truly believe that I am the creator, or that this is happening to me, that I keep on, I'm in every experience. I'm in every story. I can see how, and again, you know, whilst most people will say, yeah, but you need a certain mind of that, our conscious and our unconscious is actually so clever. It's like, think about little children. And this is why sometimes when people sit in victim, or people sit and like, oh, I didn't know, and I haven't done any personal development to know. We all have a conscience, right? It's like our children, they know when they've done something that would be considered not good, right? Because their body knows. And so I really call upon people, and hence why we love like nervous system work and regulation work for your body, because it's like, listen to the signals. My whole, like that whole period of time during that life collision, and I'd love to hear if you had any whispers during yours where it was just like my body was like going, Nadine, like whispering to me, you need to stop. And then I didn't hear the feather. Have you heard of the feather brick and Mack truck story? Do you
No.
know what it's like a concept. And I literally am the embodiment of this, or this happened to me. So it's like for many years I had feathers just being like, Nadine, this is not sustainable. You can't keep going like this. You can't, yes, I love the hustle to create the business and create the future, though like this is actually not sustainable. You've got at the time just the one child, you're holding up the fort for your family, like you're financially supporting people. Like this can't just keep doing this. And then, I wouldn't listen to that. Why would I listen to that? Because I just keep going and, it's the type A and these women, hoorah, we keep going. No, I'll take that another job. And then I'd volunteer for Queensland Ambulance Service and then I'd take on something else, or a friend would need my help. Yep, what do you need? Straight on the phone.
Yeah.
What do you need? You're moving? Great. I'll pack some boxes. I'll be there till 2 a.m. and then I've got to start shift at 7 a.m. Like again, at the start of the conversation, shooting myself to death. I should do this. I'm a daughter. I should do this. I'm a mother. I should do this. I'm a wife. I should do this. I'm a career professional. I should do this, this. And I realized the only hat, I was wearing all of the hats, and the only hat I wasn't wearing is the one with my fucking name on it. And it was like I wasn't honoring the other child I was also raising or reparenting, which was myself. And so, then it was like the feather. And then I'd literally get some bricks to the face, but I'd get back up. I'm good. And they were like through sickness or something. Do you know what I mean? And then I literally had a Mack truck. And when I say a Mack truck, I was driving from the Sunshine Coast to the Gold Coast, taking care of my dad. Then my father-in-law had his cancer diagnosis. Both have since passed. That was happening at the same time. Literally thought I was driving home. Trigger warning. My vision was like, I hadn't heard from Dane, and I wasn't too sure when I opened my garage if he was going to be hanging in there. Like that was the type of on edge that I was in and on all the time. Coming home to get home to my kids after taking care of my dad overnight to help with my mum, who was in considerable, like max carer stress for him. Driving along the highway, had all sleep over the last week and fell asleep at the wheel. And literally was a bee's dick away on the other side of the highway. This is on the Gold Coast, like Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast.
The Bruce Highway.
Yep. With a Mack truck.
Oof.
So that story, and the reason why I love that is, and share it, because it is actually the feather brick and Mack truck concept. And I was like, yep, I know that one. And because here's the thing, and perhaps this is what people need to hear, that moment of I can't keep going and look at myself in the mirror happened before then. And I still, like, yes, it was the start, though what is it going to take?
Yeah, there's a lot of denial there.
Heaps.
And it's, I talk about this on other episodes. I'm someone who wants like fun, I guess light, I guess all the good stuff without consequence.
Yeah.
So I don't ever really want to admit that something's wrong. Like I don't want to admit that I'm being a victim. Like I don't want, like I have a big problem with ever admitting that. I don't want to go to those painful places, right? I've had a lot of pain. I've had a lot of trauma. I've been raised to be the good girl, to be perfect within my nervous system and my DNA to avoid, ever being in those situations. But I'm dodging reality there, right?
Literally.
So it goes back to that piece of like, are you really being honest with yourself? Are you literally lying to yourself? Are you covering up? Are you in denial?
Yes.
And unfortunately it does take to the point where you're face on with a Mack truck to get to that point. But I guess the same thing that makes us so tenacious.
Yes.
In all of the other areas of our lives of like, just like going and going and going and going and going.
Yes.
We then do in that situation as well.
Just in those moments, and the reason why it's such an important story to share is just the recognition. That's all people need at the start. I think that what the world and certainly, our work, and I guess then the work, on every plane, actually in every industry, we try to everything's so complex and everything's taught so complex. If we just get really simple, the key in that was like a radical conversation to have with myself. And am I willing, and are you willing to have it over and over with yourself again? And then this decision of like, I can identify what's happening here and where am I not listening? Because that's ultimately where it was. So, for those listening right now, you just get to go, oh, this is interesting. I've had 5 of the same things show up all the time. Or it's like I've called in the 5 same men every time. Or this is interesting. My 5 employees are exactly the same trait and this betrayal or something keeps on happening. What is this? Do you know what I mean? It's just this identification moment and then this radical moment of like, I'm part of this. Yeah. I'm part of the co-creation of this. And that's how I really wanted to answer that. Sometimes it's not okay, here's the 6th step or here's the this. It's like, can we fully once and for all go, it's me. It's me, and I'm willing to face fully the woman in the mirror. And that's when I fully believe for every season that you step into, when you face that woman, man, couple, whomever, in the mirror, you finally step into your arena. And then that's I believe, day one of the rest of your life.
Yeah. And then obviously coupled with like the inner child work as well.
Oh,
That's
girl.
how long is, because I'm also have been working in that space for a while and more intensively in the past few months. What is your journey with it? How long have you been doing the work in terms of the inner child work?
Oh gosh. If you were to put, okay, have you done psychology, psychiatry? Have you sat with that therapy? Have you gone and done, there's just, again, you could pop them all on a list, and I can almost say I've done all of it.
Yeah.
And again, as a former health professional myself, I know the importance of the web of it all. And I'm, one of my best friends is a psychologist, so I also can really appreciate all of the levels of work that all of it provides within the scope that it all provides.
Yeah.
Though then I must say that all of that got me to a point, and I found myself still cycling and circling over the same things. Or it would open a Band-Aid, I'd get to the root of something, and it still would feel present until I next went and had a visit with the therapist or the guide or the energy healer or, all the things from multiple planes. And so, I'm going to say it's been a journey now for me in this lifetime of the last decade and a half of deep, where the inner child has had to be honored. And I feel like a lot of women do this in the face of like, tick that box, make sure you've just done that. And the reason why I say that is the last 15 years I've learned all the things about not just inner child, though, our journey through our developmental stages of life and the different identities that we have, the different ways in which we can even our archetypes. There's so many things that, human design, you name it, right? And that's what I want to bring into here. I, like a lot of women, know inside out about the importance of reparenting your inner child, and you've been on a journey forever. Part of my nursing career was hugely in this, hugely in mental health, and hugely in the developmental stages from a young not just girl, but young people right through to their adolescence and into their adult years. So I can identify with the science and the physiological changes that also get to happen. Though then there's just things that you cannot explain until you're then on a journey spiritually that you go, oh my gosh. So I've been reparenting and healing the inner child of mine for decades and lifetimes. It's just, this, as I continue to go deeper in me and deeper in the part of me that's not just Nadine, that has been when it's actually all been part of this one person as well, if that makes sense. And and the right people will hear that with how they need to hear that on this conversation.
Yeah. How well do you feel you can stay in the adult brain when your inner child is being triggered?
No. So here's the thing. No matter when you've done the beautiful work of, or continue to, because this is the thing, our inner child is, we don't arrive to a place and we can put inner child work to bed. We will forever be honoring that little girl. And when she's being triggered, or he, I want to say he too, because we do a lot of work with our men and their inner boy. There's so much work around, kill the boy so you can raise your inner masculine, you can become the man. Though we have to honor both, and all of it gets to show up. And so in those moments, we can choose to go, no, this next version of me that's my adult self needs to nurture my younger self and my inner child. Though in those moments, you said it before, that compassion to actually sit with it and sit with her and sit with whatever's coming up is a lifelong commitment, like a forever a student commitment, forever a beginner of the work. If anyone ever says I'm healed and I'm complete with my inner child, it's like abort that mission, unsubscribe from people that are saying that. I'm forever on the journey of growing that. I'm forever on the journey of continuing to see her or him. I'm forever on the journey of learning what he and her, is here to do or be or, say, because that's often the thing too. There's parts even more recently we've just ran our last 3 retreats, and the first one is men's, then the second one is couples, the third one is women's, and I've just come off that, hence the raspy voice. And the inner children in there is just, it's half the beautiful work. Kids that have forgotten, because their adult self forgotten, that play is their birthright, that joy is their birthright, that dancing, singing. This is both men and women. Men allowing their inner boy to cry. Yeah. Like and again, as I'm a mother of boys, so this work means more to me than just honoring the little women and honoring the little girls. It's like, because if we can honor the little boys, what do those boys do as they become men? They also honor, you know, the masculine, the feminine, the dance between both. So yeah, again, inner child is so intricate, though when you're willing to go on a journey of it, it can be the most magical, parenting, fun, playful journey, and one that unearths some big shit too.
Yeah. One thing that I'm quite fascinated in, I saw something on this morning, was talking about how to, because it can feel a little bit crazy at times, disseminating between what is past trauma showing up
And
versus
continuing
what
to.
is real and happening. Because obviously something triggers that little girl to come out or the little boy to come out. But how much of it is weighted in past versus reality?
And it's so nuanced. I love that. Here's the thing. It's like, I was talking to Dane about this just the other day. It was his birthday, and he, for the first time, he's 42, and it's like for the first time he was like, wow, I really felt really seen this birthday more than any other birthday. And we were having this conversation, and it was the most simple birthday, right? Like just beautiful, though really seen, really acknowledged, really heard, like just beyond what we've ever done before. Again, simple. And we were talking about how he was like, normally, you know, sometimes come birthdays, something as simple as someone, like this is so awesome because it's so simple, getting to have the birthday cake first, and something as simple as getting to blow out the candles again because I wanted to, something as simple as, like anything I want today in terms of we can go to the beach or we can go do this with, and we were basically, what we were doing with him that day is going and getting a rescue puppy for his birthday. That's what he wanted. So I'm getting to it because it was about getting a puppy.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was like, I realized that this inner child in me didn't always ever really until now. And he's like, and we love this work. We do this work. And he was like, it was so interesting that asking for a puppy felt like such a big deal. And I was like, well, let's go get the freaking puppy. Like, let's go get the puppy. And then we're over at the beautiful rescue place looking for this puppy. And it was such this beautiful moment where he was like, I literally get to come into here and go, which puppy do I want
a rescue
as a rescue? Now, the reason why I say this, because because it's this inner child moment, he was brought to tears with just, I can see how as this young boy, I wasn't taught to ask for what I want or to express what I needed. And we've been doing this work, like this is our bread and butter, though it was just something that simple, even with people, you know, this is what they do. In that moment, he just had another unearthing of like, I get to further ask what I want. I get to have what I desire in this lifetime. And honoring that little inner boy in that moment was something as simple as going and getting a rescue puppy and blowing the candle out again because I wanted to do it again. Like, I just found it so captivating seeing this grown-ass man just literally be like that. Like, and just seeing the wonderment and the curiosity of that. Now, he's like a very masculine man and a very just, well, no, I'm going to say he dances so well in his masculine and his feminine. And in that moment, something so simple like that was just like, wow. And an honoring of his inner child where on that day, and he gets to have, like, we get to have what we want, like in this lifetime more than ever, because we've created that now. And of all the things, he wanted that puppy that day. So to your question, it's like, this is forever.
Yeah.
It is forever. Our little people that just want to be seen. Do you know what I mean? The little girl that just wants to dance. For me, like, think about, I don't know about you, like, what memory do you have as a real little girl when you were not shooting yourself to death and we were just like, do you remember the jelly shoes? And do you remember like do you remember the butterfly clips and just all the things where you did not care and you just were like, like there was such this unapologetic, untamed version of you that wasn't yet, you know, laid with all of the things and expectations.
I think that's the interesting thing though, because I think there are some people that have fond memories of childhood and some that don't really have any at all. And I would be in that category, unfortunately.
Of none?
So, like, not really, no.
Yeah. So this is, okay. So I'm curious, in your time of your own with yourself, what did you have? What can you do you remember, or is it a lot of repressed?
No, I've got really good recall over all of it. There was a lot of abuse in my childhood. I think
we're very similar, just so you know. I've got my book here for you, though I grew up in a very significant. This is huge in my life too.
I think the happiest I was as a child was before I had any awareness of like what was going wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think you're very naive as a child up until a certain age where
Yeah.
you don't actually notice that things are wrong or you're being mistreated or things are
Until-
different or that there's dysfunction or there's violence or like whatever it might be.
Mm.
So I guess like my very younger years, you know, have fond memories, but then they're equally kind of masked with sad things.
Other
Like
things,
I got a puppy when I was 6 years old. I always wanted, staying on the dog trend here,
Yeah.
I always wanted a Maltese Terrier.
Yeah.
And my parents bought me a Maltese Terrier puppy for my birthday and I was so excited. And then 2 weeks later, it was gone.
Mm.
They gave it away because I didn't want the responsibility. Like obviously I was 6. I couldn't take care of it fully myself. And Maltesers need, you know, cleaning and all that sort of thing. But like just that experience of like something being given to me and me being so like
falling in love with this. Yeah.
you know, and then just having it taken away.
Yeah.
And so early on, that just made me realize that I can't trust
No.
that anything that good comes into my life will stay. And that's just like one of the analogies
Yes.
of my childhood.
Yes.
So like, as you were saying before, like even I'm a very aware person. Also, like I'm aware of all of this stuff. I'm aware of how it's stored in my body. I'm aware of where it shows up. When it does show up, obviously I react stronger to real world stimuli because of all of that past trauma than if I was just reacting to what was happening in the moment and I had a better childhood.
Yes.
My issue that I'm still working through is being like, how do I like load all of that emotion up onto that
With that
situation?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. And like even working with different therapists that I have, like no one's really given me the actual toolkit or the practical advice of here's how not to regurgitate and throw up and open Pandora's box on all of your childhood trauma that lives in your body and throw it onto this moment or this person or whoever it is that you're being triggered from right now. Like how do you control that transference of all of your own shit onto someone else? Like that's a big thing that like I'm still trying to
Have you like somatically released yet?
Yeah, I've done some work around that too. Yeah, I've done a bit of everything. Like you, I've worked with different psychologists, counselors, coaches, you know, real specific people, like even, you know, women who are more sexually, spiritually aligned around the tantric stuff and all that sort of thing too. So it's like just the practical, like
this will require almost like it's not this though, it's like this pilgrimage inwards, right? And it requires so much devotion. And I say that because it's almost like, think about how much this is, and it's here for you to transmute it. Absolutely. There's no coincidental chance you're raising a little girl. Do you know what I mean? Like it's everything is being presented for you, and it's like everything that you're doing is taking you to the place that and you will. And when you say one day, there'll be a time when you're like, holy shit, it's gone, and or now I go on the journey of actually healing from it now, because you've only known your body with it. You've only known your nervous system with it, no matter how many tools you're given, no matter how many somatic practices you've had.
That's the thing.
EFT tapping, like you name it, like you've probably
like,
done all of it.
You sit there and go like, this has been wired through my body. I'm 40. How can you expect to just like shift something that is like literally like the blood that runs through your veins
and bones and then if we think about it, has it been a pattern as well in your family? So it's
definitely
right.
And that's the thing, like I'm so passionate about being that generational change maker as well.
At a cellular level, it is. And if we think about your daughter, it's like you're doing it now, and in the hope that you do it enough, she won't need to, and if not, you'll be doing it together.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know this has kind of turned into a therapy for Amanda session, so I'm going to switch gears, and I would like to talk about life by design. Because I think you and I also share in common, which is a lot more light and fluffy than the subject that we've just been talking about. But this is another thing that we obviously connected on as well. You know, it's like working out where we live and how much we travel and being moms and, you know, you're homeschooling the boys or world schooling the boys, and how I'm looking at doing, well, me and Jack are looking at doing that with Ariella as well, and how unconventional this lifestyle seems to so many people, right? Yeah. Because they're like, how do you just like constantly like be on the move and like run business and raise children, and like, why would you do that?
Now I go, why would you not do that? Like, I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
though, it's been a journey, right?
Yeah, I think more people are reaching out to me with curiosity around how to make it work.
Yes.
Particularly, I think it's easier to start this thing like I did when Ariella was really, really young, because you mold them into just being used to traveling and doing stuff. I think it'd be really hard for a family who's already set up established structure, full-time jobs, in schools, family members that depend on them, like you've been in that situation as well. It takes to be a certain breed of a person, I guess, and to have a certain set of circumstances that allow you the ability to not have any strings attached and be able to kind of do what you want to do. But it can be designed.
Absolutely.
Because you have a choice to do whatever it is that you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
And I guess for me and Jack, it was like two people coming together who actually had the same values and the same vision for how they wanted to live life. Like we talk a lot about wanting to one day, be in the US, and how independent of each other, that's always been a big goal for each of us, of wanting to expand because it feels expansive. So if I was with a partner who had to stay in Australia and had family that relied on having them around, and was someone who wanted to send that, our kid to a school that they went to, or, had this sort of predetermined sort of idea of how life was meant to look, it would have made life difficult, because there would have been like 100%. Compromise happening all the time, and there would be a resentment built over time of, I'm not actually getting to do any of the things that I want to do with this one chance that I have on this planet. I think a lot of people who don't have that relationship talk early on, which most of us, if we get into relationships when we're really young, we don't. We're just chemically bonded, trauma bonded, whatever it might be. So the beauty of meeting Jack later on in life is that, like, we literally had a dinner where we sat down when we first started our relationship talking about the kind of life that we wanted and how we wanted to parent and like all that sort of stuff. And it was like, tick, 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 this all lines up. Like this is literally, we want to be on the same path. I understand that's really hard to find, but if someone is currently looking for a life partner, I think it's great to have like that kind of conversation. And then if someone's in a partnership where they are already aligned, but they are thinking about like, is this really how we want to live life? Like, is it really lighting us up? Because you and I both know, like, it's so freeing just running around with a suitcase. Oh, and it's easy just like going in and out of hotels and going to the buffet for breakfast, not having to cook.
Absolutely.
Having the maid come and make your bed.
Absolutely. And you brought up a really good point, and about, it requires a certain, a circumstance or a type of way of life that you've created. Though I'm big on like, because now I can't unsee what I've seen. I can't unfeel what I've felt, and I can't be any more of an example, and also have so many examples where it's like people that you would, if you were to look at their upbringing, where they're from, what they were doing, and I'm one of them, and then to where I am now, it is an absolute, evident piece of examples where this is possible for anyone. Yeah. Caveat, if you are willing to get absolutely responsible at the start, have really big conversations and want it so much for yourself and your family that you're willing to do what it takes to arrive there, because it's not easy. Though when I look back on it now, I go, the life I was living then was freaking hard. And now this is easy. This is effortless. Don't mistake with no effort though this is just so flowful. This is so freedom filled. I want to shake people so much, because you're like, this is out here. And I can say that. If you saw me and where I was from and what my upbringing was like and how scarce things were and what it looked socioeconomically, you'd be like, no way. And so you're an example of this too. And it's like, then I now know personally, and then through our work, so many that it's like, if you were to go here, no way, I go yes way now, because there's so many examples. So again, you're like, this is actually for anyone and everyone. Caveat, if they will. So I'd love, this conversation is going to be cool, because again, let us blow your minds of what is considered logic. And right now, I feel there's more and more people, like the worst thing people can do right now is like, oh, it's not available for me. I couldn't possibly have that. When, you know what, heads down, bums up. If there's a lot of people in your circles that are saying that, it's time to prune that garden that I spoke about earlier, and start getting around people that make this normal.
Because people just see where we're at and they go, of course they can have travel and nannies. Like, look at them. Look at how, like how set up they are to be able to do that, without realizing we actually set ourselves up. Like, we built from the ground up. Like, neither of us had anything handed down to ourselves. We were personally responsible, worked really freaking hard, and got to a place where we didn't have children until we knew we could actually have the life that we wanted to have as well. So like, that's just our journey, and it doesn't make it better or worse than anyone else's. Like that's
just is.
and it shows that it's possible. It's not just what you see. It's like the whole iceberg principle, right?
Yeah.
It's like you just see
Oh.
these people living this like fabulous life, traveling as a family and doing business, and you don't realize like everything that it took beneath that to actually get to that point.
Totally.
And you can't just click your fingers and go and do that without having all of that structure built up beforehand.
Totally.
You know, you can't be working in a full-time role that requires you to go into an office 5 days a week. If you want to do this, maybe you need to be thinking about the kind of work you do. Can you find a job that's remote? Like there's like an audit you could do of like, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to go. What do I need to transfer from column A to column B to actually free me up to make the unlock so I can actually step into this place that I actually want to be operating in?
Yes.
A lot of people will look at that to-do list from left to right and go, fuck
too
that,
hard.
too hard.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, but that comes back to if anything feels fuck that too hard, it's not actually your true desire.
Yeah.
Because when you actually have true desire for something and you know your why and you know how, and you almost feel like I've always felt like I know I'm meant to live this big life. I know I'm not meant to stay in the same place. Like I know I'm meant for big things. Like I know I'm meant to help people, very similar to you. That helps in giving you the energy that you need to actually suck it up, princess. Yeah, it's hard. And I'm in that season right now with a lot of stuff at the moment, with having to do a lot of annoying tasks in order to reach the next goal, of which, you know, I find so soul crushing, but it's part of the process.
Absolutely.
And the why is big enough to be like, as I said, suck it up, get it done. And some people aren't prepared to go through the suck it up phase to get to where they are. Particularly, I feel sad for younger people these days because I feel like the illusion of being able to like, I've spoken to teenagers finishing school and I always love to hear like, what do you want to do? And like some of these kids are so smart. They're literally like the top of their grades. Yeah. I want to be a beauty vlogger on YouTube, or like, you know, I want to be a professional gamer, or I want to be an influencer, because it looks like that lifestyle is like so easily attainable, and it's like you just skip all the hard stuff and then starting at the bottom and like building your way up to something. But I mean, the foundations are never going to be like, if you just go from here to here, you've got no foundations, you've got nothing to fall back on. Like I think what we've done with our lives, and this audience is predominantly around our age group, so I don't think it's going to reach the younger ones, but there might be mums wanting to, you know, get their kids to listen as well. It's like, go and apply yourself to all these different roles and careers and have all of these different experiences, because through that you're going to be able to eliminate more of the things that you want to be doing than you don't want to be doing from lived in experience. And you will end up building the foundation of a really healthy place to actually live your ideal life, as opposed to like, I want my ideal life now.
It's got to happen yesterday.
Yeah.
There's also an element, like I'm big about it. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice, especially if you're building it from the ground up? Like if you've come from nothing and you're investing everything for yourself and you're, you know, are you willing to make the sacrifices that very few do? I remember, you know, going back like 15 years ago, I remember doing things that people are like, that's crazy. I'd rather just go on a holiday. And I'm like, no, I will forego the holiday for the future that I want. Right? Just little things like that. So like, and it's not to say then be this frugal person that then doesn't go and enjoy your life. Like still go and do things though. Can you start to measure what's worth the sacrifice? Because now when I look back and go, holy shit, I remember literally having, this is ages ago now though, Dane and I having our own cars and me wanting to invest into myself, into like there was a few certifications that I wanted to do, a few like coaches that I wanted to, like spiritual mentors and a few people that we could go deep in a few things that I was like, I am willing, so much so that I sold a car, invested all of it. My husband was like, you are fucking crazy. But I was like, nah, watch me. It was like this moment of, I know as long as you like, there's a willing of backing for me. And when a woman, I feel this as any woman, when they're finally on their own team, and when you back yourself and you have enough self-belief and you have this like this internal, like, you know what, I don't need to even be disciplined. There is a why and there's an intrinsic reason why I'm doing this. And my why, you know, for most people, they're like, oh, was your why to change the world and change all, because, you know, we're doing a lot of beautiful work that is healing humanity. So I know that. Though be okay that your first initial why is like to get myself and my family out of this fucking mess. And that's okay if that's where it starts. And I'm really honest about that. It's like, as much as I wanted to do all this big stuff for the world, because I always wanted to do that. I served my country. I was serving my community in the emergency departments. I spent my whole life helping people. I was the daughter that was looking after everyone. I was the daughter trying to keep the glue together in a family that was in disarray. I was doing my best, shooting myself to death. So it was like, again, do you see how in that moment, it's okay if your why is just because I just want a better life for myself. And it has never been like this for me. So I'm giving myself that. And then guess what? The more and more I did that, you know, at that time I had Madden, he was or no, actually before that time I didn't have Matt. And then after that, it was like, I've now got a child. I'm going to do it for him because I don't want him to experience what I experienced. I don't want him to go, or I don't want to say to him, babe, we can't have fresh milk. We're going to have powdered milk. Like this is the kind of stuff that I had to experience. You know, I had so much talent as this young little girl because there was just such this drive because she didn't have much. You know, she'd be sprinting and everybody else would have sprinting like spikes and I'd be barefoot. Do you know what I mean? And I'd still, you know, be able to, you know, do what I needed to do and yet have little to do that with. And I think that's a big thing. If you're just someone that goes, you know what, I've got this internal desire, there's a why that gives me enough incentive, then all the things that will come in the path of entrepreneurship or discovering what your purpose is, it won't be easy though. My goodness, it's easier than the life that you're coming away from. And that's what I love, and that's when I love speaking to other women and families that are living like this, because there is a whole heap of people living like this. It's just that they're living it, right? And you're not around them, so you think it's so far away. Where everyday people are doing this because they've decided a long time ago, iceberg theory, they're changing the story. And just, again, it's an invitation for everyone listening. Maybe you've already hit an element of some type of freedom and you're like, you know what, I want the next one now. Maybe
and
that's
it starts in those smaller steps, right? It's like you don't just jump from here to here, but you can make a plan and you can start making shifts that will change the trajectory of your life and where it's going. In saying that, I have 3 questions now that I want to wrap this amazing episode with. The first one is, and you answer this season of my life feels like?
So expansive, sister. And the reason being is we've, again, just completed a whole heap of humanity healing work. And whenever we do this, we arrive to a new season of us where we just go, how does it get better than this? And it just gets to. And now, after being in this season of servitude to others, we're now in deep, you know, servitude to ourselves even more. I mean, we are always still whilst we're serving others. Though now we're about to beautifully jet off overseas again. I've got some exciting, cool opportunities and ventures that don't feel like work, though it is work. That's really exciting. And it happens every time we complete our beautiful events and servitude to the world. So it feels expansive, and at the same time, it feels really unknown, though in the best possible way. And as someone that could identify with a few things that you said, I used to want to know everything that was happening to the freaking nth degree, and I needed to know what was happening on Monday at 2 p.m. like and I am such in my feminine, and I love my masculine too, and so I do have a lot of structure. You know, I have a lot of structure, though I'm such in the flow of my life, and with flow comes absolute like joy of like, what's next? And that is both equally exciting, and when we're able to receive life like that, it is just so much better than what you even assume it's going to be. How about you? What season are you in, sister? You've already sort of mentioned this as well.
Yeah, I'm in a season where we're about to go next level with everything. So it's a shedding. It's I'm like going up the mountain, and I'm about to come over the other side.
How exciting. So it's like the mountain.
The next season is brewing. Let's just say that. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about, but probably by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be news. The next question is, what's one thing you've stopped apologizing for?
Myself. Like, I think people need to hear that. On the weekend, people are just sorry for freaking breathing, women. And it's like, I'm more like every day I get to bring this version of me, this unapologetic version of me, this mask off version of me that doesn't matter how I show up, whether it's in sweats or in a full, you know, suit, or it's the version of me that is, you know, a bougie grounded spiritual part of me, or the version of me that's 12. That is when you know you've made it, when you're literally, and continue to make it, when you're literally like, every part of me gets to be seen, and I'm cool with that.
And what's something you want women to know?
It's never not been them, it's always been them. And when they realize that they are their every liberation and yet their every obstacle, and they look at that woman in the mirror and they realize that until you've bravely face that woman and look beyond what the eyes can see, then and only then can you say that you've stepped into your own arena.
Boom, mic drop. That wraps the episode so perfectly. How can people find you if they want to connect with you, just like I did?
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate you. They can look, there are so many ways that people can find me, though. Instagram is definitely a beautiful space. So please reach out if you've loved this episode. Just land on in with next season. We can have a conversation of just women doing awesome things in this world. That's for sure. You'll see the beautiful work that we do, and you can't unfeel it once you feel it. That's for sure. And if something sparks your curiosity, you know where to come.
Amazing.
Thank you, sister. Thanks so much for having me.